not to be rude, but I think you murdered your parents.
Disclaimer: ignore the lack of an intro. I originally started reading this for another video lols.
But I do have a lot to say about this book, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This is an American classic. I'm currently like 30% done with this book. It's a big book. It's like 700 pages, 728. John Steinbeck, he really is taking his time with the story, but it's like, I'm not mad about it. He spent the first 100 to 200-ish pages just describing where the main characters came from and how they ended up like meeting each other. And he went into detail. Like, he described not only the prior lives of the main characters, but also the lives of their parents and their parents and their parents. And he gave us a whole rundown of the family tree. The story is set in California, although all of them moved westward to California because they had dreams of growing rich there or having a peaceful life there. They felt that there was a lot of promise in California. If there are any Americans watching this, hello! This is probably gonna seem like very much common sense to you guys, but did you know in America there was this idea of manifest destiny where, well, when the settlers first came, they all lived eastward of USA and they shoved like all of the Native Americans westward. They said, okay, this is our land now, you guys need to go to the west. Like, you guys can still live on your land, just not near us, so you guys go westward so we don't cross paths with each other. Anywho, then the idea of manifest destiny arose, which was basically the idea that it is fate for the European settlers to move westward because they are meant to move there, and also they expected a lot of gold to be there, so they were like, guys, you know how we just told you to leave your homes and move westward? Well, actually, we're gonna do the same thing. I don't know, you guys have like no space anymore because we are just infiltrating the entire country, but like, that's not our problem. So just like go anywhere else, but we will be going westward because this is our place now. Rude, but yeah, anyways. Hello, I'm back. Sorry to interrupt it so suddenly. My mother arrived, and since I'm only here for a limited time, I want to spend as much time with my parents as possible. So I am back now. The last thing I was talking about was, I believe, manifest destiny. You're welcome for the history lesson, by the way. Let's get back to the actual plot of the book now. He gives us so much context to really understand where the characters are coming from, what generational trauma they might carry, which habits they might have inherited from their parents. He gives us a lot of information so that the characters are really round and full-fledged. Simultaneously, we are introduced to the Hamilton family as well as the Trask family. I will begin talking about the Trask family. There are two brothers, Adam and Charles. They have different mothers. Adam is the older brother, and his mother actually killed herself by drowning, and the mother of Charles is the one who raises both of the boys. Personality-wise, Charles is quite rough, to say the least. It keeps being said how the brothers share a very close connection to each other, but then again, all we're shown of this connection is Charles essentially bullying his older brother. There were several instances where he tried to take his brother's lives and where he beat him up, and he beats them up quite a lot. Their childhood is around like 1870, 1880, I believe. And back then, the way they raised kids was very different from today. Like, bro, they would just whip their kids. The father of the brothers is a good example of tough love because he likes Adam, but he also notices that he's a very, not weak, but a very soft, sensitive boy. And because he wants to strengthen him and give him a chance at independence, he treats him pretty badly and he gives him some tough jobs to do at the farm. Also, all of these families have farms, as was like the standard back then, kind of. Anyways, so he lets him do a bunch of work at the farm and in general a bunch of tasks, and he ends up sending him to army too, which is actually quite conflicting because the brother, Charles, he's like the typical manly man, physically very strong, and he has the army mindset, kind of. And so he's kind of offended when he's not the one chosen to go to the army. The father himself had been a soldier and active in the military. He keeps sharing his experiences in the war, but a lot of them are just made up stories to make himself look good. But he tells those stories so convincingly that people believe him. And also, he's an amputee. He doesn't have one of his legs anymore, so he's like, I'm the real deal because look at my leg. If you don't believe me, you're being rude because, like, look at me. In fact, he tells the story so convincingly that he makes quite the career for himself. Don't ask me for the exact job position name, but he advises people and he's invited to talk about his stories. And girl, I don't even know what exactly he does, but like he just he's high up there. Nevertheless, he and his family are still poor. At least they live poorly, because as it turns out, he got a huge amount of money in the bank. The brothers only find out about this when they inherit all of that money. Okay, let me elaborate, fill in the gaps a bit. So Adam is sent to the army, and there he spends his first 5 years there, and then he's supposed to return to the farm where his brother Charles still remains. But Adam is so traumatized from his home and his childhood experiences, where he literally almost got murdered several times by his brother and father, that he ends up registering for another 5 years at the army. That doesn't mean that he likes the army though. He's still a very sensitive man, and he considers it inhumane to kill other people. I mean, understandable, honestly. But between the horrors of being home and being in the military, he chooses for himself the lesser evil, the military, and enrolls for another 5 years, stays there, and then technically he's free, but he spends like around 3 years on the road. He's traveling around and trying to make his way home, but he ends up being not kidnapped, but like I forgot the exact word for it right now, but like he's taken as prisoner to do work for people. I forgot what that's called, but that's what he does for like a year until he escapes, and then he returns home. The reason as to why he finally returns home after escaping and being free is because his father died, and when his brother Charles saw the sum of the will, he was like, bro, you gotta come see this, like this is crazy. And so he does come home, and he discovers that they inherited $90,000, which at the time, that's a huge amount. Like, they will never have to work again. They are rich now. Like, genuinely. Both of them could buy houses, they could live luxurious lives, and they would never have to lift a finger, because that's how much money that is. Neither of them had any idea that their father was that rich. After all, they had spent their childhoods living a very average, kind of poorish life. And so that brings up the question of how the father got all that money. Charles grows very suspicious of it, and he feels the urge to contact the military and confront them about this. Ask them, guys, was this done legally? Or like, is my father is that, can I keep the money? But like, I don't, like, if it's bad money, I don't want to keep it. So in this instance, he's being very moral, very mindful, very demure. He doesn't want to have dirty money. Meanwhile, his brother Adam sees opportunities in this huge amount of money. He doesn't care if it was gained illegally. He's just happy he has it, because that's like a freeway ticket out of there, out of the place that traumatized him. The brothers discuss what they should do with all of this sudden wealth. And because of their opposite standpoints, they don't agree, but they end up just continuing their lives as usual, except they have like a huge bang on their back. Charles sticks to his habits, does the farm work, doesn't even upgrade any of his tools. He lives a very poor life still, because that's what he's used to. But Adam is very opportunistic, and he's like, bro, like, I cannot be bothered to keep doing farm work. I mean, he does it still for a couple of years, but he's not happy about it. He's like, bro, we should be living the rich life. Why are we not? He does make some use of his money, though, by traveling to, I believe it was Puerto Rico. But when he returns home, he's still confronted with the same schedule as always that he's known all his life, but he doesn't like it. He wants to get out of there, to make a life for himself. Mind you, at this point, both of the brothers are like 30-ish, and neither of them have wives. One night, the brothers are arguing about the same thing as always, about what should we do with the money, when suddenly there's like a knock at the door, and they're like, who's here at this hour? And so Adam opens the door, and he sees this woman, and she's covered in blood, like drenched in blood. And her face is all messed up, beat up, swollen. She has broken bones, and she's almost dead. It's amazing that she even had the strength to crawl her way to their doorstep. So when they see this woman, they're like... Once again, they have conflicting opinions about how they should proceed. Adam says, we need to take care of her. We need to take her in, call the doctor, and protect her. On the other hand, literally, Charles argues, quite rationally. If two single men in their 30s get seen with a messed up, beat up, bloody, almost dead woman in their house, it's not gonna look good for us. People are going to assume that we did this. They won't believe that this woman came to us. They will believe that we took the woman and almost killed her. Despite Charles's worries, they end up going to a doctor, taking him home and telling him, fix her, please. And so he does, kind of, like he tells her to rest and gives her some medicine. And Adam tends to her bedside every day. He takes such good care of her. From the moment that he saw her, he falls in love. Which honestly is so weird because at that point she's like basically a corpse. But nevertheless, for him, it is love at first sight. And he takes care of his lover and witnesses her face slowly retransforming into a human-looking face. That sounds so mean, but like, she was just that badly beat up. Charles has a bad feeling about this though. He notices his brother's obsession and feels that this woman brings trouble. They have no idea who she is. They have no idea why she was beat up like that. I believe she was even feigning amnesia at the point. Hello, it has been a while, but we're back now. And where we left off was with Kathy arriving at the brother's house. And she's like in this super cruel state, right? Like all beat up. She has scars on her face and like she's pretty much dead. Adam nurses her back to life. And in the meantime, he falls in love with her and he's like seriously head over heels for her. He is blind to anything else that is happening around him and even like to who he's really falling in love with. You know, love makes you blind, that expression, that's Adam in that moment. And Charles notices that his brother is kind of odd, like oddly in love with her, and he recognizes that first of all there's something wrong with that girl, and second of all his brother doesn't seem to notice that there's something wrong with that girl. So Charles of course is worried for his brother. He's like, boy, don't, like, I know you're in love with her and everything, but maybe don't make any crazy choices right now. Maybe just wait it out, wait until she gets better, and wait until your mind, your crazy hormones settle down a bit too, because this is kind of crazy, okay? I don't trust this. But Adam, he doesn't listen to his brother. He's like... And so what Adam ends up doing is proposing to Kathy, and Kathy herself, she's like, boy, like, first of all, are you sure? Like, do you see my face? Because like you literally can't because it's so swollen, because I'm literally that beat up. And also, you want to marry a girl who's like this close to death? And also, are you sure you want to marry me, Mrs. Kathy, Mrs. Murdered her own parents? Kathy, that's the girl's name. She's low-key a psychopath. She acts like a regular member of society for the most part, but then sometimes she does these extremely cruel things, like burning her parents' house down with her parents in it, and also stealing the entire family fund, and then running off and becoming not even a prostitute, but like a sugar baby, except not even a sugar baby, because I don't think she slept with the man, but using him for money and getting a house from him, and then in the end like trying to kill him, but then almost being killed by him. That is not mentally healthy behavior, TBH. Okay, just in case I didn't say it in the earlier clips, how she ended up coming to the farm of the brothers was after she had killed her parents and ran off. She had started a sort of relationship with a whorehouse owner. I'm not sure if that term is offensive. If it is, I am sorry. Aside from running a whorehouse, again, if it's offensive, I'm sorry, he lives quite the regular life. He has a family and kids, but then suddenly this young girl runs into his life. If I remember correctly, at first she even asks him for a position as a whore, but he denies her. Double check me though, it has been a couple of weeks for me since that moment in the book has happened. But anyways, she gets in contact with him and he absolutely falls in love with her, and he gives her like everything, especially material things. He buys her a house and offers her a very comfortable life, just as his little lover, secret lover at that. And he is seriously so captivated by her. The girl, Kathy, of course, uses this to her advantage, as she uses like everyone in the story. Until eventually the man had grown suspicious of her because he seems to know nothing of her. He doesn't know where she came from, what her backstory is. And so he hires a secret investigator who then finds out that her home city had this odd, unexplained house fire a few years ago, exactly when she stumbled into his life. And with that information, the man puts two and two together and he confronts her and is like, girl, not to be rude, but I think you murdered your parents. And upon that confrontation, as Kathy realizes that her secret is about to be exposed, she plans to kill him. Like, she hasn't killed enough people already, huh? The two of them end up on a train somewhere. I don't know where exactly they were supposed to go or why, but they are on a train. And Kathy has a knife with her and she plans to stab the man and take his life so that there's nobody who knows of her past, of her secret, of her real identity. However, the man discovers the knife somehow and he confronts her again. It's like, girl, I know damn well you wanted to stab me just now. And what he does then is he beats the living crap out of her and leaves her for dead in an alleyway in a city. We're talking, how the fuck did she survive that? But of course, Kathy survived and she somehow crawls her way through the city and then to the brothers' farms. I don't even know, like seriously, she was pretty much gone at that point. I have no idea what kind of crazy adrenaline rush she would have had to get to that far off farm and knock at specifically those men's doors. But yeah, somehow she ended up there. Are you sure you want to marry me? Mrs. Murdered her own parents? Of course she doesn't say that, but she's like, damn, this boy is like crazy in love. Honestly, Kathy is kind of opposed to the idea of marrying somebody because what she hopes for in life is a very independent, solitary life, as well as financial freedom, and just like she wants to live on her own and live her sick, crazy, happily ever after, and she doesn't care like what kind of crime she needs to do to get there. But that's her head. She's like, I'm gonna be a rich grandma one day and I don't care what it takes to get there. But yeah, marriage is kind of not part of her plan. So she's like, actually, Adam, you know, like I appreciate you nursing me back to life, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to marry you to the age. Adam is respectful of her uncertainty and tells her, okay, take your time, think about it, like sleep a couple of nights over it, I understand. So what Kathy does instead of sleeping a night over it is sleeping with his brother. She's so dirty, I swear. She is a brat. I don't even remember how exactly her and Charles ended up in bed together. I think that she literally just went up to him during the night, like while he was in bed sleeping, and she was like, I'm gonna do something so crazy right now. And then like they had sex. Adam doesn't know about this, by the way, about their affair. But nevertheless, the boys, they still fight about Kathy and like, boy, you're so crazy in love with her and now you want to marry her? Like, are you out of your mind? What the hell? Charles is very against the idea of Adam marrying Kathy, not because Charles wants anything from Kathy, because he recognizes that that woman is crazy, no good. Instead, his opposition stems from him recognizing that Kathy is crazy and wouldn't be good for his brother. But Adam, of course, he doesn't listen to his brother, and what he ends up doing is taking Kathy to, what is it, like church, council, something. He ends up marrying her, like that. Very practical, not very romantic, but that's how it was back in the day, most of the time. And they are married now, and Kathy herself is like, well, damn, that happened fast. Very soon after getting married, the two of them move to California to start their own life there. And I guess during the moving process they had a little bit of fun themselves, and Kathy ends up pregnant. Yay, good for her. And she ends up pregnant with twins. Okay, with twins. We will talk about the twin pregnancy more later, okay? But we end up in Salina Valley, is it? Salinas Valley in California. How they end up specifically in Salinas Valley in California is because Adam had read about this location in a book or a newspaper somewhere, and it's apparently a very promising place, very good for farms, very good for settling down. So he's like, yeah, booked and busy, I'm going there. Now let's get into Salinas Valley's history, aka the other main characters. Like, one of which is my fave, my lover. Actually, two of which. We love all characters in this book, except Kathy. So in Salinas Valley already live Samuel and his family. Samuel is an Irishman who moved to America with his wife, who's also Irish, and they had a bunch of children there. Like, we're talking 8. And as I mentioned before, John Steinbeck takes his time to explain the entire world. Like, he said, world building. There you go. So we as the readers, we find out about everybody's business, about each of the children, each of their careers, each of their characteristics, and blah blah blah. But at the moment it's not that important, so I will spare you all of those details. But yeah, this family is going to be the neighbors of Adam and Kathy and their twins. Now Samuel Hamilton is his last name, by the way, Samuel Hamilton. He is the only man ever. We love Samuel. He's like a sensitive old man. Fun fact, he's really good at giving birth. Oh. I should phrase it differently. He is really good at helping people give birth. He doesn't give birth himself. And in general, he's a super helpful guy, super helpful neighbor. Like, he's known around the area as the guy you can always go to and ask for help, and he will give you help, he will give you advice, he will make sure that you're not fucking up in life. And he's quite selfless too. And he also invents a bunch of things, and then he also builds a bunch of things for other people and blah blah blah. He does a lot of work for other people, and like, he's supposed to get paid for his work, of course. But at the same time, he's not very persistent or eager to receive the payments, really, which it's nice, but it's also not very good for him or his family, because that means that his family is not as rich as they could be. Like, they're not starving, but like they could be more stable financially. His wife, who's like the opposite of him, she's a very strict, no fun, no jokes, no games kind of woman. She always tells him off, like, Samuel, bro, you keep doing all this work and letting people like use you, and yet you're not getting paid. Like, where you're supposed to supply for the family, where's the money? But Samuel, he's really just a fun little guy. Samuel isn't very materialistic. He just cares about other people as friends, and so if somebody is not able to pay him back, or if they happen to forget to pay him back, then he's like, it's all good, it's okay. I gave you a friendly little act of service, and I hope you're happy with it. And if I don't get paid, I mean, okay. So to sum up, Samuel is very selfless, but very helping. And he's a very kind, old, sensitive man. We love Samuel. Adam ends up becoming his neighbor, which, lucky for him, honestly. Like, Adam has been treated so badly in life, but with Samuel, he has finally gotten a friend who treats him well and has only good intentions with him. Adam buys a huge property next to him. He plans to build a big farm which will sustain his and his future kids. And at this point, Adam is super full of life and super excited and looking forward to his life. And he's like, oh my god, all my dreams are coming true, and I'm finally living my happily ever after. And also, I can finally put my father's huge amount of money to some good use by like investing it in a farm which will sustain me and my kids and the future generations and blah blah blah. But in the meantime, Kathy is just sitting there pregnant, and she's kind of like a doll. Like, she doesn't really do anything except sit there and be in a bad mood, low-key. All day, every day, she sits there sulking, and in her mind she plans to run away eventually. She knows that this is not the life for her. The life as a family mother? Not for the girl that killed her own family. Oh my god, also, I think she tried to abort her babies? But I'm not sure. Yeah, pretty sure she did. But who's surprised by that? I mean, it's Kathy. What's important to mention is also that Kathy finally is honest with Adam, and she tells him straight up into his face, boy, I'm gonna leave you as soon as I pop these kids out, okay? I'm out of here. This is not for me. I don't want this. Goodbye already. I'm not gone yet, but you're not gonna see me raising these kids. And Adam, being blinded by love, he's like, girl, you are so funny. You are so silly. He doesn't believe her, or maybe he takes her words with a grain of salt. He probably believes that she's just afraid of the future, and so she's kind of like making these threats and saying these things, but she doesn't actually mean them, because his picture of her is so warped. In his mind, she's a little angel, a little doll, a good little wife, but that's not who she is, and most people are able to see that. It is described several times in this book when other people meet this girl, this woman I should say, when they meet Kathy, that they get shivers down their spines and that they feel really uncomfortable and that they know that something's up with her and they don't trust her. At some point, Samuel also meets her, and even though he's like the friendliest man ever, he too recognizes that this woman is kind of strange and that he doesn't trust her and that there must be something evil in her. And later on, he even tells his wife about it. His wife is super strict and no joke, no fun. And she's also a very Christian woman. And he tells her, you should check it out. Like, there's something wrong with this woman. Like, we're talking the devil. During Kathy's pregnancy, Adam is in the middle of building this huge farm. And he also plans to build for Kathy a huge garden, like the Garden of Eden. He compares it to like the biblical Garden of Eden, like, wait, East of Eden. Oh my god. Wait. Again, he's super motivated to start his new life there, and he wants to give her so much, offer her this fantastic, beautiful life and even a beautiful garden which he can tend to and love and have such a great time in. And Kathy, she's just sitting there like, yeah, girl, do it, I guess, whatever you want. And so he starts doing all this work for the farm, and he even hires Samuel and his sons to do some work for him, like looking for water sources and building wells and stuff. And Samuel even tells him, like, bro, are you sure you want to do this? Like, this is a big commitment and also a huge investment. Like, are you sure you can even afford this? Like, that's so expensive. But Adam, being the rich man that he is, he's like, yeah, Samuel, my dearest friend, just take my money, do your work. I'm just here being happy, building my happy little life, making my wife so happy. And yeah, they get to work. I need to mention another very important character that has come into Adam's life during this new chapter in California, and that is Lee. Lee is a Chinese American man who is, I don't know the English word right now, but like the household service person. Yeah, he's helping out the family, especially he's assisting Kathy during her pregnancy. Like, he's especially always making sure that Kathy is comfortable during her pregnancy and preparing food and tea for them. And during his work hours, he uses Pidgin. So for the non-native English speakers, Pidgin is... Wait, I gotta think like how to explain this first of all. I'm gonna put some kind of internet description here, but I would explain Pidgins as when a community of foreigners who doesn't yet speak, in this case, English, they will learn English, but at the same time they will mix their native languages, grammar, or aspects of the native language into English, and so they will create kind of their own mixture of a language, and that would be Pidgin. So it's like the child of a foreign language and English, and that's Pidgin. There are different types of Pidgins depending on what the foreign language was that it was combined with. So for example, with African slaves, they would have their own version of Pidgin. But there's also Lee's case where he speaks like a Chinese kind of Pidgin. Now, the reader is introduced to Lee as speaking exclusively this Pidgin. However, during Samuel's first visit to this new family home, the two of them start speaking like in private. And Samuel kind of, he looks at him and he's like, something's up with you. Like, why you speak like that? Samuel respectfully asks him about if Lee has grown up all his life in the USA, then why does he still speak with an accent or in Pidgin? Lee is like, bro, should I let you in on a little secret? Like, hold on, I can actually speak typical English too. Like, hold on, let me hit you with this. And then he starts speaking normal, like regular English. As you're reading this, you're like, oh my, a plot twist! And I loved this. Lee and Samuel, they established a very close friendship, and it's the most wholesome thing ever. Samuel, he's like genuinely interested in him, and he sees past his status as a person of color and also past his status as only like a service worker. I don't know the English word for it. Instead of having prejudice against Lee, he openly asked him about it, and he's also very, again, respectful with it. He's like, if I ask too many questions, please do let me know. I don't want to bother you, but I'm just a bit curious and I would love to learn more about you and also more about your culture, and just, I want to get to know you. And he sees him as a whole human, which like, that is the bare minimum. Or like, wait, like, that is how it should be. But of course, like, I think everybody knows back then, the racism, crazy. John Steinbeck, he is a progressive king. Like, he sees past prejudices, and he's like, girl, I'm gonna educate the readers without letting them know I'm educating them. So just by introducing Lee as a character, a person you wouldn't usually see the perspective of, he gives the readers the opportunity to learn more about him and about his life. And that's what I like so much. I have been looking for classic fiction where the focus is not on rich people and rich people problems. Like, I'm sorry, but Jane Austen novels, not for me. There are so many classic novels that focus only on the smallest percentage of people, on the rich intellectual people. And I mean, yeah, it's interesting to read about it sometimes, but also it's so overdone and it's so focused on only this small percentage of people, which, I mean, historically it makes sense that there is like a big focus on the top half of people, on the little percentage of rich people, because those were the few people who could also afford like reading and writing and getting an education and stuff like that. But I want to know about the majority of the people, about the less fortunate people, or just the middle people. And so that's why I really appreciate this book, because it gives you a very good insight on what the average person experienced back then. And I think this book is so important, and it also fits really well into the topic of the American dream. I remember when the subject in my English class was the American dream, we had read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I don't even want to say it's a bad book. I mean, personally, I didn't like it that much. But it's kind of oversold as this one book that perfectly encapsulates the American dream and what it means to American dream and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people also criticize it and point out that the focus of this book is still on a rich white man, and in general, mostly rich white people. And that's like, isn't the American dream about like immigrants and also like from rags to riches? Like, aren't we missing the point? And that's why I find this much better fits the descriptions of the American dream, because it's, first of all, rags to riches. It's also focused on immigrants, and it also focuses on people of color, in this case Lee, and it presents them as full human beings instead of just being a racist depiction of them, which at the time was often the case, of just writing them down as like less intellectual, lesser people, which rude. But like, girl, we love Lee, we love good representation. Like, Lee, he is the man. He's the man. Like, he's the real runner of the household. You will also see later that if it wasn't for Lee, this family, Adam's family, would crumble. Like, Lee is what keeps the family going. The book also appreciates Lee's Chinese culture. During the conversations with Samuel, Lee also expresses the feeling of alienation because he is a person of color, and how even though he is fully American, like he grew up in America all his life, he doesn't feel American. But then when he was younger, he thought, okay, so what if I go to China? I mean, I am ethnically Chinese, so maybe if I go to China, I will feel less like a foreigner or like an alien there. So he did go to China. He listened to racist people to go back to his home country, blah, 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 blah. But in China, he recognized, whoa, okay, I still feel like an alien. What the fuck? He felt even more like an alien when he was in China, because the way that Lee has grown up in America has made him so different from the people in China that he felt so much more different there than he felt in America. So even though in America he still feels like an outsider, in China he feels even more like an outsider. And so he decided to return to America and confront the racism that he experiences every day. And in fact, what he did was he kind of accepted the prejudices, or he goes with the prejudices that people confront him with. Like, this is gonna sound mean, but like people think, he's Chinese, so he's like stupid, and also he's like that and that and that. Just every prejudice, every racial stereotype they throw on him, and he's like, you know what? I could fight against this and prove them wrong by being my real self, but also it's like really hard to have to prove everybody wrong. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna take all these stereotypes and act like they are me, because it's easier to live how people already see you instead of like helping them see the real you. That is also why he speaks pidgin while he is at work, because that's what people expect him to do. He speaks a very simple language, and he also doesn't let it show that he is a very intellectual man, actually. Instead, he plays this persona of this silly little assistant who entertains everybody and blah, 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 blah. But when he is with Samuel, he has such a genuine friendship with him, and he's able to genuinely be himself, because Samuel, being the only man ever, the best man ever, he is not a dickhead, he is not a raging racist. He sees past every stereotype, and he wants to get to know him as a person and not as some kind of alien creature. This friendship between Samuel and Lee goes on throughout the book, and every time the two of them have conversations, it's so heartwarming, and it's just, they are so important, this connection that they have. Like, they are such close friends, and it's also such an important like exchange, cultural exchange, especially like, again, this book was released so long ago. I think especially back then, when people of color or immigrants or whatever, they were still not entirely seen as equal. This book brought such an important perspective, which probably changed a bunch of people's perspective on race and blah blah blah. Yeah, let's go back to the plot. But just so you know, this friendship between Lee and Samuel continues, and it's the best thing ever. It's the highlight for me. But yeah, Samuel and his sons, they also do the work around the farm with building wells, with finding water. One day, while him and his sons are on the fields doing their work, Lee suddenly comes riding on a horse, and he's like, "Bro! Bro, Kathy is giving birth. You need to come because you are the local birth giver." As we already know, Samuel is so good at giving birth. So he's called whenever anybody in the neighborhood is giving birth, and Samuel is like, "Yeah, I gotta go, guys. My sons, you gotta build the wells by yourself. I'm gonna give birth now. Bye-bye." And so they ride off, and he helps Kathy give birth, and Kathy is going foul, okay? Everybody is urged to leave the room as Kathy is in labor, and so it's only Kathy and Samuel. And Samuel tries to help her the best he can, but also, again, Kathy's kind of like... And in this instance too, Samuel kind of recognizes that there is something not normal about this woman. Anyway, Samuel guides her through the birth step by step. At one point, Kathy is pushing, and she takes Samuel's hand and bites into it really fucking hard. It leaves a crazy wound which will later turn to scars, and there's even the risk of infection and everything. Samuel looks at his hands and he's like, this woman not normal. I mean, I know women go crazy while giving birth, but this is a different kind of crazy. Okay, Damn. Kathy does end up giving birth. It's twins, but it is also described that the twins came out in 2 different sex. Now, remember how Kathy was a little bit of a slut? She had sex with both Charles, the brother, and Adam. So, like, what do the 2 sex mean? Especially because one of the babies looks more like Charles and one of them looks more like Adam. I googled it a second ago, and 2 sex with twins does not necessarily mean that they come from different fathers, but there's the possibility that they might come from different fathers. It's very rare, but it can happen, and I think in this instance, John Steinbeck put this detail of the twins coming out of 2 sex as a meaning that one of the children is from Charles and the other is from Adam. So it's like, whoa, 2 different dads. Crazy. A day or something after giving birth, Kathy, she's like, remember the promise I made about like getting out of here as soon as I give birth? I'm gonna do that right now. She packs her bag and she has a little gun, and then Adam walks in on her trying to leave, and he's like, what are you doing? We have kids, what the fuck? And Kathy is like, I don't care, girl, I have a gun, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, have fun with the kids, I gave them to you, not gonna do anything else anymore, bye bye. And she shoots him. Oh my god! She's just killing everybody, okay? Goddamn. The bullet goes through Adam's shoulder, so like pretty close to the heart, and like we're not sure, did she try to really kill Adam, or was she just trying to like get him to stop moving and get him to stop trying to hold her back from leaving? But knowing Kathy, she probably wanted to kill him. Adam is left first of all with a broken shoulder and dead, dying, broken, and he's also left hella depressed because his wife just left him and she was the love of his life and he was so obsessedly in love with her. So with Kathy leaving, his life spirits have left him too. He has no reason to live anymore. He does have the twins now, but at the same time he's like, where's my love? Where's my love? I have no reason to live anymore. And he's like so emo that sorry, he's so depressed that he also cancels building the garden and the farm and everything because he doesn't see a reason in it anymore. He wanted to build all of that for Kathy, for his wife, so they could start a happy life together, but well, she left him. She ran off. He has no idea where she is. Like, zero idea. Nobody knows where she went. So he cancels everything, and for 1 year he's just depressed, emo, does nothing, just sits around, and he doesn't even look at the twins. He doesn't try to teach them to speak. He doesn't give them any attention. He's just too depressed and too hurt. During this first year of the twins' lives, Lee steps up again. I said earlier that Lee's like the pillar of the family. He is also the one who essentially raises the kids. So even though he's only a maid, service person, whatever, he's really like Lee's the father. I said it, Lee's the father. It's not Charles and Adam, it's actually Lee, because he raises the kids. I'm joking. Partially. But, oh my god, also, Lee, he teaches the boys Chinese at first. So the first words of the boys are actually in Mandarin. And in general, their infancy and also their early childhood is has a lot of influence from Chinese culture, because well, Lee kind of gives them that influence. That's again, it's interesting how the cultures mix together and just read this book, okay? Trust me, it's good. It's like, oh my god, different cultures in America, that's so interesting. Just read it, trust me. It's like, you will notice, whoa, this is the American dream. This is like melting pot, kind of. After like 1 year, Samuel talks to his wife about the situation. This is like so sad. This man is so depressed and so emo. The vibes are so bad. like, I kind of want to help him. So Samuel does go to Adam and he confronts him, and he puts on like big boy pants. He goes there really angrily and he's like, girl, I'm gonna slap the emo-ness, the depression out of you, like literally. Again, Samuel is the kindest, nicest, most generous man ever. But he knows that in this instance, in this situation, what Adam really needs is somebody to just slap him back into reality. And so, yeah, Samuel goes there to his farm and he gets really angry. Like, he forces himself to be really angry with Adam, and he's like, are you fucking serious? You got kids, you gotta take care of the kids. You cannot just sit around all your life and give up on life just because what? Some girl left you? That is loser behavior. You are not a loser. And then Adam is like, girl, wait, let me listen to Little Peep, okay? I'm too emo for this right now. And then Samuel beats him the fuck up, okay? Adam got beat up by an old man. Loser. But yeah, he literally gets slapped back into reality and out of depression, and that's his wake-up call, really. So Samuel, he forced himself to be mean, and it worked. It worked. He went to his friend, took care of his friend in a very aggressive way, and after that he gave him some life advice and he just helped him back up on his feet. And we love Samuel, okay? He is the best person ever. Everybody needs a friend like Samuel. Like, he genuinely cares about people. So now we know what happened during the first year of the twins' life from Adam's perspective. But now let's also talk about Kathy's perspective, because we also hear about her perspective, okay? She might have run off. The narrator was like, hold on, we're not gonna let her go this easy, we're gonna follow her. So what she does is she runs off to San Francisco, which is not too far away from Selena's Valley. It's like a couple of hours. Don't ask me how long, because they didn't have cars back then, or like just the start of cars, whatever. It's like a day trip kind of to San Francisco, and yeah, she gets there, and across the street from Chinatown there's the red light district with all the prostitution and stuff, and she goes to the most prestigious whorehouse, and the person who runs this establishment is a very old woman, and she's a very nice lady, and everybody even talks about her so kindly. They're like, yeah, she's just a nice old lady, and she genuinely like cares about the people who work at her place and blah blah blah, and she wants everybody to be safe. And so what Kathy does, she's a little manipulative bitch, and she goes to the woman and asks her for a position as a prostitute, and she starts working there. However, she does this little thing that she has done before with the man who she was kind of like a sugar baby of, like, who was also a whorehouse owner. So she kind of measles her way into her life, makes her fall in love with her. Once again, she doesn't say anything about where she has come from, about her past. She's very secretive, very mysterious, but nevertheless she makes her fall in love with her because she knows what this person might want, what this old lady in this case might want, and so she gives her exactly that. Nothing more, nothing less. She just gives her just enough. The person will be satisfied and fall in love with her. Well, I mean, in this old lady's case, it's not a romantic love. I should clarify, it's more like a familiar love. So what happens is Kathy and this old lady, they get a kind of mother-daughter relationship. And Kathy is really careful to keep up this persona of this nice little daughter, of this sweet little thing. She cares so much about her boss lady, and she actually ends up calling her mother, and the old lady ends up calling her daughter, and they have such a close bond, and even the other colleagues pick up on it, and they're like, oh my god, they are so cute together, like they're just a little family. And at some point after like a year, the old lady even ends up bringing papers to Kathy, not adoption papers, but they're, what is it called, like inheritance papers. The mother, she's like, yeah, Kathy, no, actually Kate. Kathy changed her name to Kate because she's a new girl, a new woman. She goes by a different name now. The old woman is like, okay, Kate, I love you, you're my little daughter, and like we've gotten so close over the year, and also you take care of me every time I get sick.
I have thought, I'm very old, but how about we form a little family together as mother and daughter? I want to do a little family trip to Paris with you. Wouldn't that be nice? Like, that's so wholesome, and also like you can have all of my money basically. Like, I trust you so much. You're my little baby girl.
Kathy, in her mind, she's like, yeah, my plan worked. I have manipulated my way into a person falling in love with me and trusting me, giving me all of their money. God, she's done this like 3 times now. The fuck? She's so evil. Since this is like a celebratory occasion, the old lady brought some alcohol to celebrate. Kathy, she refuses to drink alcohol usually because it makes her drop her facade, and she is so careful about this persona that she's acting, and she never wants this face, this mask to slip off, so she refuses alcohol. But the mother, the old lady, insists on her having a little sip with her, and so Kathy starts having 1 glass of wine, and then she feels her mask like crumble, and suddenly her control, which like she's always in control of everything, of her own life, of other people, of other people's decision, of everything. Suddenly, with the alcohol, she loses control. She gets another glass and she drinks some more, and oh, there are more cracks in her mask, and she drinks a little more, and suddenly the whole bottle is gone. She is suddenly drunk, and with being drunk, she's out of control. And she's finally showing her real face. And low-key, she's just being a little bitch now. Like, Kate starts straight up offending this old lady. She's like, girl, you're so ugly. And also, you're so pathetic. Because you seriously see me as a daughter? Girl, I don't give a fuck about you. I'm just here for your money. So, like, give me your fucking money and I will be running. You know what? I might even kill you. Just for fun. The old lady, she's sitting there like, That's an interesting joke. Kathy keeps going like, the old lady, I felt so bad at her. She slowly starts to realize, god damn, who is this girl? What the fuck? The woman is so disturbed by this because everything she seemed to know about this girl crumbles. It's all a lie, and she realizes that, and she feels so hurt, and she's like, no, girl, the deal's off, the deal's off, no. What ends up happening is both of them pass out from the alcohol. Kathy wakes up first, and she's still quite drunk, but she has sobered up a little bit, and she realizes, ooh, I have made quite the mess here. What she ends up doing is she gets up, she splashes water on her face to sober up even more, and then she gets like drugs. I think opium it was, I believe. No, actually, oh my god, yeah. So she gets drugs, puts it in like water. While the old lady is still sleeping, she pinches the lady in her arm or wherever, and so the old lady starts to wake up. She's like, ouch, ouchie, ouchie. And then in that moment, Kathy stops pinching and she's like, oh my god, old lady, mother dearest, what happened? And then the woman falls back to sleep again. Right, it wasn't water that Kate had mixed the drugs into. It was actually like a blanket, a tissue, which she had mixed some kind of drug onto. The woman falls back asleep, and then Kathy pinches her again and covers her face with the tissue. And then the woman wakes back up again and she's like, oh my god, I'm in so much pain, and also like I'm tripping. I'm tripping on drugs. And then Kathy is like, poor mother, oh, go back to sleep. And she keeps doing that. Like, I don't know, like 8 times or something. Like, to simulate essentially a fever dream. Honestly, that is pure evil, but also evil genius. Although genius is too much of a euphemism, I want to use an evil word to describe Kathy. Because, like, bitch, who the fuck does that to an old woman? Like, how the fuck do you not, like, question your own beliefs when you do that? But yeah, I guess she's just a psychopath. Anyways, eventually the woman starts screaming from the nightmares, the fever dreams she's having, and the other co-workers start barging into the room, and they're like, oh my god, boss lady, we love you, what the fuck's going on, is she okay? And Kathy's like, you guys, it's okay, just my mother dearest, she's having a really bad nightmare right now, look at her, but you know, it's all okay because I'm here. I'm her little daughter and I'm taking care of her. So don't even worry about it. Just leave me with her. You know, you see, I'm always so good to her. So don't worry. Trust me, I will take care of her. Bitch, I swear to God, as I was reading that, I was like, that is cruel. I have read some disgusting books. I have read Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, I think the name was. That was about cannibalism. And I think during this scene I was still more shocked. I was like, who does that? Because right after this, the woman wakes up the next day, and she's still like all woozy and feeling sick, and she talks to Kate about the dream she had, and she's like, oh my god, yesterday I had a dream that you were like so mean to me, which was actually just her real memories. But Kate tells the old lady, oh my god, yeah, you felt so sick yesterday. I guess you got a little bit too drunk, but none of that really happened. I was really nice to you. I took care of you even, so just forget about it. It was just a dream, you know? Bitch. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that it keeps going. This very slow torture, this very slow form of killing, of murder, continues by Kate mixing drugs into the old lady's drinks, meals, whatever. She has these very subtle ways to make the woman sicker and sicker. One day she poisons both the old lady and herself. She had fermented beans or something. She had made fermented beans herself and served them as dinner to herself and the old lady, and then both of them got sick of them, and the doctor came and he was like, oh my god, guys, you two are so lucky to have survived, because if you ferment beans the wrong way, that's like kills you immediately. So both of them are sick for a few weeks. Kathy gets well a little bit sooner than the old lady, and she tends to the old lady and cares for her. But then the old lady never really gets well. Paris trip is cancelled, and also Kate ends up killing her. Kate hella slowly kills the old woman, and sometimes she even shows the old woman her real face and kind of like shocks her with like, oh my god, the fever dream was real, oh my god, you're lying to me and blah blah. And it's just like this mental and physical torture, and it's like so slow. It's like such a slow process of dying, and it's like, bro, she's just the old lady, okay? I mean, yeah, she's like, she runs a whorehouse, but also she's just a little old lady, so just let her pass in peace. What the fuck? But yeah, Kate is not doing that. She is slowly killing her, and then when she dies, she takes the money and she becomes the new owner of the whorehouse. I really gotta look up if that term is offensive. I hope not. If it is, I apologize for each time I said that, okay? She is now the new owner of this establishment, and she changes things up. Before, this establishment was known as a very like not luxurious, a well-run whorehouse, in the sense that everybody is taken care of well, and also they might do some kinky things, but they don't do the devil's work, okay? When Kate starts running the place, girl, she just invites the devil. She extends the limits quite a lot, and other people also recognize that this establishment is suddenly becoming more extreme and more freaky. And then 10 years pass. We shift perspective again to Adam Trask and Samuel, and in those 10 years, well, the twins have grown up, like they're 11 years old now, but also Samuel has lost one of his children. Like, remember Samuel, Irishman, blah blah blah. One of his kids, he had many kids, he had like 8 kids, but one of his kids died. I think her name was Una, and with her death he is just distraught. He never really recovers from that. Like, before he was always, even though he was quite old already, he was always helpful, always active, always doing work, but with the death of one of his children, he loses part of himself, part of his life, part of his spirit, and he suddenly grows very old. Like, he's not able to lift things that much anymore, and just in general he gets more wrinkly, more white hairs, and his manners are very old. He is closer to death himself now. All of his other kids, they have grown up, they have their own careers now, they live on their own, except for one. I think his name is John. He's still in the farm. One day, I think during Christmas maybe, when the family reunites, all of the children recognize that their father is suddenly so different. Really disturbing for them to see their father, this person who was so strong, be suddenly so weak and basically dying. And what they decide to do is, okay, these are probably the last years of our father's life. We don't want him to continue working his ass off at the farm every day because he's simply too old for that. So let's offer him some peaceful last moments by letting him stay with each of us. So first he will stay with, I don't know the names, with Martina, and then with Kevin, and then with Cooper, and then blah 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 blah. He will be gone, out of his farm, unable to do his farm work, unable to hurt his body, strain his health anymore, and just live his last years peacefully, and never return to the farm again, because at some point he will die. John, the son who is still at the farm, he is at first opposed to the idea because he thinks it's kind of insulting to their father, and he thinks that the father will recognize what the kids are trying to do, that they are trying to offer him a peaceful passing and blah blah blah. But they do it anyways, and they invite the father out. When Samuel gets that letter, the first invitation from one of his children to stay with them, he realizes what they're trying to do. In that moment he realizes, okay, I'm like dead. Like not father dead, but he's like dead. He put the invitation down and he was like, first of all, rude, but also second of all, like, yeah, fine, whatever. I mean, I am dying. Oh my God. I will go. I will die, but that's so sad. Like, I'm gonna leave this farm. Oh my God. Him and John have like a conversation together where Samuel also points out, I know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to leave, see my other kids and never return here again. And then he says something like really smart and really emotional. I cried a little bit, but I forgot what he said. But it was a really moving moment between John and the father, Samuel. I believe the smart thing he said, which I cannot remember for the life of me right now, was just like a reflection on his life. Before he leaves to see his kids, he visits Adam one last time, and he also sees the twins, and the twins, they have grown up. And I forgot to mention one thing earlier. I will get to that in a second. But yeah, Samuel tells Adam, boy, you know what? I'm proud of you because you have stepped up. You are no longer an emo. You are now actually taking care of the kids, and look at them. They have grown up so much. Him and Lee, they also talk, and then he leaves and he's with his kids, and then he dies. I was like so pissed, okay? I was like, bitch, did you, I mean, like, death is natural and everything, but did you need to kill off Samuel? What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know, he dies. It's really sad, but yeah. So what else has happened within those 10 years, aside from Samuel dying, is that Lee no longer speaks Pidgin while he is at work, which also shows that him and Adam have kind of established a relationship, a closer bond between themselves, because Lee is now no longer just his servant. Servant is the word I was looking for. It's not maid, it's servant. But he's now also like, I don't know, he is more respected because he gets to be himself, and he's no longer just this racist persona that he is acting up. Also, the boys, the twins, you know how at first during their infancy they were raised mostly Chinese because, well, their father Adam was too depressed, so they were raised by Lee, blah blah blah. They might still have some Chinese influence in their growing up. However, they're just American boys now. Like, they don't speak Chinese Mandarin anymore, and yeah, it's just... Now, the thing I forgot to mention earlier was when Adam was emo after his wife had left him. So he was like emo for 1 year, and then Samuel came and slapped him out of the emo-ness. One thing that was also happening back then was the twins had not been named yet. They had been alive out in the world for 1 year, but they still had not been named because Adam had been too emo, too depressed. He had lost all will to live, to do anything, to build, to establish a future for him or his children. So yeah, once Samuel had heard that the twins had still not been named, he sprinted over there, slapped him, and he also told Adam, "Boy, it is time to name your kids. The fuck? They are 1 year old. They still don't have names? Weird." They end up naming him, and it's a discussion, like the whole naming process is a discussion between Lee, Adam, and Samuel. So they take the Bible, because back then, like, everybody was named with biblical names. Like, they took the Bible, were like, "Your name is now Joseph and Maria. Period." They took the Bible and they checked for some stories, like, yeah, I have 2 sons, so let's look for 2 sons in the Bible, 2 brothers. What should be fitting to them? What do I wish for my children in the future? And they went through a couple of stories, and on page 324, the first names they debate giving the twin boys is Cain and Abel. Girl, I gotta expose myself. Like, I forgot everything in the Bible. If you are like a Bible expert, I'm so sorry. These are probably the most basic stories to you. I forgot all about them. Girl, I went to church. I was like a church mass helper for like 3 years or something. I forgot everything. So I forgot everything about Cain and Abel too. And this is probably foreshadowing, like them associating the kids with Cain and Abel. I don't know if that's the proper pronunciation. I will call them Abel. This is probably like crazy foreshadowing, like the fate of these boys in the Bible is probably also the same fate for the boys in this book, but I wouldn't know. But I believe, oh my god, right, Garden of Eden. Remember how Adam wanted to build a garden for his ex-wife, for Kate? And it was supposed to be like the Garden of Eden. I mean, that didn't happen, but like that was the plan. And so the kids of Adam and Eve, sorry, the kids of Adam and Eve, who were the people, the OG humans in the Garden of Eden, oops, those kids were Cain and Abel, I think. And then the fate of Cain and Abel was... Girl, let me just quote. Low-key, let me quote. Samuel spoke. Adam... Oh my god, wait! I'm so stupid. The main character's names is Adam Trask, and here Adam and Eve. And like, they're thinking of naming Adam's children like Adam from the Bible, so Cain and Abel, and also Garden of Eden. Like the Bible parallels are going so crazy, and literally I wish I knew more of like the Bible plot, but I do not. Recently I also read Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, and it's like a very Christian book, and there were so many like Christianity Bible references in there, and I could not get any of them either, and that like really took from the reading experience, and I feel like it's taking from this reading experience too. But yeah, if you are more familiar with Bible lore, then you will probably read this passage and be like, oh my god, the symbolism, the parallelism, the foreshadowing, it goes crazy. But yeah, let me quote. Samuel spoke. Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bore his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. But unto Cain and to his offering he had no respect. So God was biased towards Abel, and he didn't like Cain, is what I'm getting from this. To summarize the next part, Cain is like jealous of his brother Abel because he gets preferred by God, and so Cain kills his brother. Rude. And then Cain is cursed, and ooh, okay. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. East of Eden. East of...
Guys, I fear I might be a little slow.
First of all, Garden of Eden, which is like in Salinas Valley, basically the home, but like East of Eden means like he's going away from Eden, like away from the west, from California, to like away from the Garden of Eden, from the home to like the east, which like that's foreshadowing that Cain, whoever of the twins is gonna end up symbolizing Cain, is gonna kill his brother and then be a little bitch and move back eastward. Oh, can we like talk about like why is the Bible like written so weirdly? Like I'm joking, but also I feel like they could have written that more easily, more understandably. Whatever. Anyways, so then the three men, Adam, Samuel, and Lee, they're looking at this passage again and they're like, ooh, I don't know if we should name the kids Cain and Abel. If you give the kids the name connected with this fate of one brother killing the other and then like being a fugitive and a vagabond, blah, blah, blah. That's not really a fate I want to wish on my kids. So they end up aborting that idea, throwing it away, and they look some more in the Bible. And then quite spontaneously, they see some different names. They end up calling the twins Caleb and Aaron. Oh wait, the initials C and A, that is the same as Cain and Abel. Oh. So even though they don't have the literal names anymore, it's like they're probably gonna be connected somehow. Caleb was a captain, and all that is said about Aaron here is that he never made it to the promised land. The twins, they are described to look different in appearances. Like one of them is a bit more darker and also smarter, I think. Like Caleb is the smart one and the dark one. Caleb, C. Cain. Cain killed his brother. Let's remember. The smart one kills the brother, maybe? Let's just remember. I don't know. I'm not much further than this, but like, let's see. I am already saying Caleb is gonna kill Aaron. Yeah. With that, children had been named, and then 10 years pass, and Samuel dies, and yeah, we see the twins again, and they're just like, well, they're chilling. They're just, for now, they're still just having fun, being little kids, running around. During Samuel's last visit, actually, so before Samuel died, when he said his goodbyes to Adam, he also told him, by the way, I hate to do this, but I know I need to do it because I'm your friend. I've already helped you out of a dire situation before, and I think I need to give you another very tough truth and hurt you. But I will do it because I know it will help you in the long run. So what he told him was, I know where your wife is. I know what she does now. She is in San Francisco and she runs a whorehouse and she goes by the name of Kate. You will find it if you go there and blah, blah, blah. And Adam is like, huh? Whoa, what the hell? Like, he doesn't believe it at first. And he's like quite offended, honestly. He like storms off angrily. But yeah, in the end, it was good that he found out. We will get there in a second. But what I literally just now noticed, the initials C and A are also present with Adam and Charles. That is crazy parallels. So we have from the Bible Cain and Abel, then we have Charles and Adam, and then we have Caleb and Aaron. C-A. So all of them continue, maybe are like connected to Cain and Abel, maybe. I mean, so Cain killed his brother Abel, and Charles tried to kill his brother Adam several times during their childhood. So that's already a parallel. I don't know, I'm not a Bible expert, but I just noticed like a crazy generational parallel. Whoa. Anyways, back to the plot. So Samuel dies, and then Adam, he's left with this confrontation with apparently my ex-wife, who I haven't seen or heard anything about in 10 years. Apparently she's in San Francisco, which is like a day trip from here, and she runs a horror house. At first he's like, he doesn't even want to know if it's true, but then he goes to San Francisco. I think he had an appointment there. He did something in San Francisco, and then after that meeting, he went to a bar, got a little bit drunk, and then because of the alcohol, he got courage and he was like, you know what? I'm already in San Francisco, might as well check out if the rumors are true, if my ex-wife really is a horror house boss now. And so he goes to the alleged establishment and he asks for, is Mrs. Kate here? Because I want to see her. And at first people are like, first of all, she's like the lady high up, so unless you have an appointment, you're not gonna see her. But then Adam is like, no, tell her Adam Trask wants to see her. Just tell her that, and I think I will be let in. Kate is notified that Adam Trask wants to see her, and she's like, she actually had an appointment like to suck somebody's balls actually. But she postponed that. She gave that to some other colleague, I don't know. But she ends up letting Adam into her office. They see each other for the first time in 10 years and they are completely different people now. And Adam sees her and he's like, /SRS? This is real? You a prostitute? Whoa. He's kind of surprised, but also there's kind of sexual tension between them somehow. Kate actually tries to seduce him, kind of, or she tries to manipulate him. I don't remember what exactly her goal was in that situation. I think she was also trying to like humiliate him or like just make him feel like very small and like she had control over him, trying to let him know, it's been 10 years, I still got a grasp on you. Adam, he was unaffected by her. He refused her. He didn't let her manipulate him. He didn't let her make him feel small. He didn't let her get to him. He kept a distance at her. And also he realized in that moment he didn't love her anymore. For all those 10 years, there was always in the back of his mind like, my wife left me, the love of my life left me, I will never love again, my heart is forever linked to this woman. But now, after 10 years that he sees her again, he realizes there's no love anymore and his heart is like no longer bound to hers. Suddenly, he feels free. He is immune to her manipulation tactics. And so she seriously tries hard actually to manipulate him, to get under his skin. But he stands tall, he stands confidently, and he's like, no, actually, I think I'm good. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I realize I'm over you, you've hurt me, but that's in the past, and I moved on, and I'm moving on now. I'm going goodbye. I will never see you again. Kate realizes that this man is literally slipping out of her fingers, that she has no control over him. Wait, somebody is refusing me? I don't have control over this situation? She gets so terrified by it. She's so disturbed, like this has never happened before. She has gone her whole life by manipulating people and destroying people's lives, and suddenly this man, this former victim who she almost took his life, he is now immune to her. He survived her. He's no longer her victim, he's her survivor, and she's so shocked by it. But Adam, he walks out of the horror house, he returns home, and he is finally at peace. He is free from Kate, and that is where we are right now. I will get back to you when I am further in this story. This is how far I am with reading. Like these are all the little reading days I had, and then this is like every moment that I was like, whoa, this is so like whoa. And also I annotated a bunch. Wait, can you even see? Did I swear I annotated? Where are my annotations? There. Bye. Hi guys! It's been like 2 months and I still haven't progressed in reading this book. However, I have so much footage of me talking from now, and I really want to get rid of the footage, like delete it, so my laptop can finally function again. So, I'm just gonna stop the video here, and then I will upload the next part once I have finished the book. But yeah, I'm sorry that I'm making 2 parts out of this, but I will link the next video and I will try to get to reading this soon, but I'm just so busy with university right now. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you again soon. Take care until then.